Okay, welcome everyone. Excited to be on today's webinar. I'm joined by Taylor, Summer, and Sage Nathan. They're both from Minoan, and Minoan is such a phenomenal resource we have. We've been partnered up with them for quite some time, and they're doing so much. I love what you're doing in terms of increasing revenue for STR, hosts in so many different ways. And I know that's what we're going to be talking about today about how can short-term rental, especially short-term rental owners, increase their revenue through multiple channels. And I think that's one of the things I love most about Minoan, and amongst the other really neat things you're going to learn today about. But I appreciate you both being here, and I just love the experience you have, especially in this space of STR. So thanks for being here, both of you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And thank you for everyone joining us. We want to make this interactive. One quick housekeeping is please put questions you have. This is a live session, right? This is not pre-recorded. You got Taylor, you got Sage, and you got myself all live with you. And so the benefit of that is that this is about taking action, and it's about asking questions, and it's about moving the needle on your investing journey, right? Bottom line. And this is one wonderful way to do that, to increase our revenue. So please put questions in Q&A. Thank you for being here, but I'm going to kick it back to them, and I'm going to jump on a little bit to share a little more about Investor.
Cool. Let me go ahead and share our presentation. One second. Here. Okie doke. Okay, just want to make sure we're seeing my screen here.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Yes, thank you, Liz, for having us, and thanks to everyone who's here. I'm just curious, while we wait like another 30 seconds for people to trickle in, where are you guys calling in from? I'm in Colorado, Taylor's in Maine. Curious where you guys are located and where your properties are, and if you are in the short-term rental space, mid-term rental, long-term rental, maybe all of the above. If you guys want to just put it in the chat, I would just be curious to hear where you guys are calling in from. Virginia. Hello from Virginia. Just Terry. Terry's the only one who's living somewhere right now.
I'm in Pennsylvania.
All right, there we go. Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Awesome. Cool, y'all. Well, thanks for engaging. If anyone else is joining, wants to throw in the chat where you guys are located, where your permanent residence is, and any place else in the States or outside of the States that you guys have properties. Florida, Texas, love it. Ohio. Awesome. We have some good nationwide representation. So again, appreciate all of you guys being here. We've been working with the Investor team for almost a year now, and really are excited to talk to you guys about, everyone wants to know how to make more money, how to get the most out of your investment. And today we're going to really be focusing on how you guys can increase your cash flow beyond just the nightly stays. So there are so many different ways that you guys can capitalize on the investment that you've already made into your properties. And we're going to show you what we think is a really fun way to make a really cool, unique guest experience, and also for you to capitalize on all the stuff that you're already having to put in your property. So let's get into a quick agenda. So for today's session, we'll go through some introductions. I'll introduce myself. Taylor will introduce herself. We'll kick it back to Liz for a quick Investor overview. We're going to get into the why, the what, and the how. The why is the reasoning and the context behind what drove us to build a solution for what we're going to talk about. Drum roll, please. The what is, of course, what the solution is. What is it? And then the how is how it works. How can you guys easily adopt and implement something like this into your business today, tomorrow, whenever you guys are ready, and how to do it quickly. And of course, like Liz mentioned, this is a live session, so if you guys have questions throughout the presentation, please drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll leave time for Q&A at the end. I realized one question I forgot to ask because I was just curious if people have heard of Minoan before. So if you guys want to throw that in the chat as well, I'd be interested to hear if we have any members or if people are new to hearing about Minoan. Either way, regardless of if you are a member or would like to learn more throughout the presentation, we're excited to be here. So we'll get into some quick introductions. I'm Sage. I lead partnerships at Minoan. I've been here for 4 years, basically just as long as Minoan has been in business, which has been awesome to see our growth over the 4 years, all the changes that we've made based on awesome feedback from people like you guys. My background, so after school, I worked at a company called Jet.com. So I was living in Hoboken, New Jersey, working in e-commerce and retail. Jet.com was eventually sold to Walmart. So my background is really in the world of retail and e-commerce, which really lends itself nicely to this concept that we're going to be talking about later today. Really stemmed from our founder, Mark's background in retail. He and I worked together at Jet.com. So spent 2 years in the world of e-commerce and physical brick and mortar, and then joined Minoan in 2020. And I've been here ever since, and I'm super excited to see the worlds collide. And I'm a traveler myself. I love staying in short-term rentals. I truly prefer it over hotels. And so it's been really awesome to be on the front lines and work with a lot of you guys as your properties have gone from construction to new build to furnishing to design to all of that. So it's been awesome for me to be able to be a part of that process, and really excited to be here today.
Cool. I am Taylor, the marketing manager at Minoan. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, but I now live on the coast of Maine with my husband and our dog. And it is the best time of year to be in Maine. I will argue that to the day I die. Fall is the best. I've been at Minoan now for about a year and a half. I love connecting with hosts and just seeing their passion and excitement as their properties come to life. It's so fun to see it from, that beginning stage all the way through listing. My background is actually in hospitality marketing, mostly food and beverage. So I ended up coming to Minoan a year and a half ago because I was looking for a fun, innovative company that also still embodied that hospitality aspect, and Minoan just fit the bill for me. And right now, I'm actually in the middle of setting up my very first short-term rental in the Texas Hill Country. I just went through the design process. I'm in the ordering process, obviously saving through Minoan. And let me tell you, I have a newfound appreciation for all the things that go into setting up a short-term rental. Everyone told me it was a lot. But it's a lot. So definitely some appreciation for you short-term and mid-term rental hosts out there after this process. But I will be listed in about 2 weeks or so. So anyone coming to the Texas Hill Country, I'll send you my link after that. But yeah, so overall, I've just had such a great year and a half in this industry, and I'm excited to keep learning more. I'm going to send it back over to Liz to talk a little bit more about InvestHer.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a few words for those that are new to our community. Just put new in the chat box, because thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a step forward in your investing journey, wherever that is. So I'd love to see, hey, Helen, thank you for being here. We know time is of the essence, Terry, as well. So a couple quick things. Number one, to continue this conversation, I know, Sage, you're active in our Facebook group. I just want to encourage you, everyone, to get active in our group. It's a free Facebook group. All types of women are in that group, from women who don't have to work another day in their life to completely new to investing. And that's a supportive group for all of you to ask questions, get support you need, especially if questions come up as a result of today's webinar. I know Sage and her team are in our group too, so we'll tag them and get the conversation ongoing. So just please know that the Facebook group, our InvestHer community Facebook group, is there for you. Our podcast, we have a podcast once a week. We have over 500 episodes. I know, Sage, your team has been on our podcast. We covered some really cool things. I want to say it was about 10 episodes ago, but please check our podcast out. And I also want to mention InvestHerCon. InvestHerCon is coming up next June. If you've been to our conference, we play full out to have the really women playing in the arena. It's 3 days, 500 women, phenomenal companies like Minoan are there to offer resources and support to all types of investors. So highly encourage you to come out. Early bird is happening right now. It's on our website, and it's June 1st to the 3rd in Orlando, Florida. So it's going to be at a beautiful Omni there. Last thing I want to share really quickly is our mentorship program, Strive. For those who've been doing 5 to 10 deals, whether it's in the STR space, we have a lot of women in the STR space, as well as multifamily, different niches. It's a mentorship program that we, and Justin and I, pour ourselves into, supporting the group. It's a high-level mastermind group that is both content, but support and knowledge. So if that's of interest, you can learn more on our website. I'll put the link. But we have more and more resources for you. This is the community for you, and excited to have Minoan on to share more about the cool things you're doing. So that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Liz. Okay. So now we're going to get into the why. I know a few of you are familiar with Minoan, but for those of you that aren't, The last few years, our business has mostly been focused on being a free centralized ordering platform. We have discounts on over 150 brands, everything from the big items like couches and mattresses to linens and shampoos. But recently, we've added this other side to our business that will open up another way for you to turn guest praise into profit. And it's the reason we're here talking to you today. But first, let's take a step back. So at Minoan, we talk about this concept of native retail a lot. And native retail is the concept of a customer touching, feeling, using, living with a product before they buy it. That's worth a heck of a lot more money to brands than them having their products on a shelf or on a computer screen. And as a short-term rental or midterm rental host, you're in a really unique position to have a space where your guests are doing exactly that. They're living with the products, they're using the coffee maker, they're sleeping on the pillow. So I'm sure you guys have all had guest inquiries like the ones on our screen, right? Where did you get those sheets? Where did you get that mattress? The coffee was amazing. I wish I'd taken it home with me. That was the best soap or shampoo I've ever used. We know you're spending a lot of time, energy, and effort curating these spaces, and we want that to be appreciated. So with the combination of your spaces being that perfect setup for native retail, plus seeing that your guests are asking about where you got these products from, we knew we needed to find and create a solution for you to allow guests to do exactly that and take home a piece of their stay. So that brings us to the what. The Minoan showroom is a digital storefront that allows guests to scan a QR code in your property and shop everything around them. So long gone are the days of the guests ripping up the mattress protector to find the tag of the mattress. This gives you a way to naturally and professionally allow guests to buy what they love in your space. And the best part is you get a commission on it. So we're actually going to show you a couple examples of showrooms that are currently live. This first one is called the Retro Revival. It's a space in Minneapolis, and some of these themed spaces make really fun showrooms, fun and funky showrooms. Like you can see here, the showroom is set up based on the spaces in your property. So living room, kitchen, dining room, game room. You can actually create custom spaces, obviously based on your floor plan. But something to notice here too is that they have items listed from vendors that aren't on Minoan. For example, Amazon, like we mentioned, we have the procurement side, but they are able to actually list items on their showroom that weren't purchased through Minoan. So you don't have to have purchased anything through Minoan to set up your showroom, which is awesome. And it allows you to add things like Amazon, Etsy, Target, the list goes on, and even local items. So that brings us here to the top. Hosts, whenever they're setting up their showroom, they can actually label different products as their favorites or local items just to really highlight some of their best sellers or the things that they think guests will appreciate the most. And you can also see here, we really allow this site to be custom to your space. You can add all of your listing photos. You can add your logo that actually takes you to the listing site and more photos. Just an example of another showroom that's really popular is Mile Away Stowe. This is a property in Stowe, Vermont, and this is not a themed property, so probably a more well-rounded example. She has some really fun items like this custom Connect 4 and some stuff that we know guests are just obsessed with and intrigued with. So it's fun. She sees a lot of great traction on her showroom. She also being in Vermont, local is really important there. She highlights a ton of local items. Even some of the soaps and shampoos are local to her. So it's a fun way for her to be able to offer these unique items that guests take home with them and support her local community, which is a really nice feature as well. Cool. Now I'm going to pass it over to Sage for the how.
Cool. Thanks, Taylor. So it's really important for you guys to know when we were thinking about everything that goes into the showroom and how to actually set this up, we really focused on efficiency and speed and making this self-service so that you guys at any point in time, whether you're just furnishing your property or whether it's already furnished and you're ready to set up your showroom, that you could do it in just a few quick and easy steps. So Taylor did touch on this briefly, that we do have this purchasing or procurement arm of Minoan, where if you're a short-term rental or mid-term rental investor or host, you can get access to steep discounts on over 150 brands like Wayfair, Crate and Barrel, Article, so on and so forth. So that's great, of course. So if you've used Minoan for purchasing in the past, it's even easier. You can see all of your purchase items, which I'll show you guys in a second. But what I really wanted to focus on here is just how easy this is. It's really 3 steps. You create it, you can update it, and you can publish it. And all it takes is a quick 1, 2, 3 to be able to do this. So the first step is to create the spaces in your property. And what the spaces are, essentially, think of any of the main focal points in your property. The ones that we see being set up most often are the living room, the kitchen, the bathrooms, and the bedrooms. Of course, there are all sorts of awesome spaces that people are creating in their properties these days. There are Instagrammable spaces, there are movie rooms, there are game rooms, all sorts of different spaces. So you can create as many or as few as you want. And just a reminder, you can go in and update this over time. So it's not something that you need to have, every single space created at the start. You can update this over time. Also, if your property is already listed, whether you use a direct booking site or whether you list on an OTA, you probably already have your listing images on your listing. And so all of those images can be repurposed and uploaded easily into the Minoan showroom to create your spaces. Now let's focus on step number 2, which is how to actually create and assign items that you've purchased into these spaces that you just set up on the previous step. So again, it does not matter. I want this to be very clear to everyone on the call. You do not have to have used Minoan previously to buy anything in order to set up a showroom. If I just found out about Minoan today and my property was already set up and I wanted to create a showroom, I could, totally free of charge. There's literally no cost to using Minoan at all on either side of the business. So in this screenshot, this is going to show you what it would look like if you had purchased before through Minoan. So it's going to show you all of the items that you've purchased previously. And what you can do at this step is essentially drag and drop and say, okay, this coffee table goes to the living room, this chair goes to the theater room, so on and so forth. Now, if you haven't purchased through Minoan, or there are items that you sourced elsewhere, like Taylor mentioned, those can be the Amazons, the Etsy's, the World Markets, the Targets. There are, a long list of folks that we don't work with yet. You can still add those items. There's this little plus button, which I can't show with, oh, maybe I can. Anyway, it's probably not worth doing that. But this, okay, maybe that worked, maybe it didn't. But you guys can see there's this little plus button, which essentially allows you to add any item from any vendor. Doesn't matter if it's a Minoan partner or if it's not a Minoan partner. You can still use the showroom. You can still set this up. All you need to know is the URL or the link of the item, and you can set it up from there. So this is a really easy way to assign all of the items to the different spaces. Okay, so of course, the showroom and having this as a revenue opportunity is only as good as if you are showing this to your guests and sharing it with them. And so the way that this works is a few different options in terms of how you can share it with your guests. The first, this is one we definitely recommend, is what we call like our physical touch point. And so the way that this works, you see that little screenshot in the bottom left corner. What this is a really nice like metal powder coated stand with a pop-up piece of really nice cardstock paper that's co-branded. It has a QR code and it says some soft messaging like bring home a piece of your stay. Our mantra at Minoan is to be present but not overwhelming. So we don't want, a billion QR codes hanging from every product. That's not how we have set this up. Let's say you have a 3-bed, 2-bath. We'd maybe recommend 1, maybe 2 of those throughout the property, but we don't want your guests, and I know you guys also don't want your guests feeling like they're walking into a store. And so essentially this showroom is just familiarizing themselves with the items that you've already curated throughout the space. And if they want to learn more, if they're interested in buying something, that's how they can discover it. So that's one of the methods. The other one, we've seen a lot of folks do this. I am not a creative brain, but there are a lot of incredible creative folks out there. The other option is you can actually download the QR code just as a logo itself. We've seen people create magnets. We've seen people put them in their guidebooks, in their welcome books, as their own personal touch if they want to create something totally unique. So you have that option as well. And then the last, I think this is another great option, is share it virtually on social. We've seen a massive push in this direct booking movement. So if you have your own direct booking site, we've seen folks add a button to their website that says shop this day, which can link to the showroom. That's a fun way for people to find out about it. If you are on Instagram with your property, that's another great way. People may ask in the comments. I've seen it dozens of times. If you're posting regularly about the property, they're going to ask about items. I love the couch. I love the mirror, whatever it may be. That's a great opportunity for you guys to share that link as well. And if you are utilizing Linktree or something of that nature, that's another area in which you can share that link. So there are a few different options. You don't need to use all of these. It's totally up to you, but we do encourage you guys to share this with your guests in whatever way feels most organic. Of course, you're going to get inquiries like Taylor had mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, where people are just commenting, leaving it in their review, the things that they like the most about the property. And that's a fun way to share it with them. We've also seen and are anticipating, especially with the holiday season coming up, it could be a nice little memento to like reach out to your repeat guests or anyone who stayed at the property within the last year, for example. Say, want to give the gift of the retro revival, you can now shop your stay. I mean, I've seen like the days of people going to different locations and getting a shot glass or a t-shirt kind of over. Like people want something more significant to remember their stay by, and being able to take home, the soap and shampoo that they loved or the cookware that they really enjoyed using in the kitchen with their family. It's just a really fun way, a new experience for your guests, and something in a way for you guys to make money on all the stuff you're already having to put in your property. Like I just want to pause for a sec, maybe not pause, but like zoom out for a second and just have you guys think about that. Everything that goes into your property, you already have to buy a mattress. You can't have a listed short-term rental with no mattress and no bed. You have to buy mattresses. You have to buy sheets. You have to buy cookware. You have to buy all this stuff already. And so if you're being thoughtful about the stuff that you're putting into your property, you are 100% going to get people asking and complimenting the things that you've put in there. And so this showroom concept is essentially just a way for you guys to be able to monetize it. People are already asking you. There's this $10 billion influencer industry out there where people get paid for sending links to other people and then those people buying it. That's exactly what we're doing here. It's not clothes and it's not like food. It's the stuff that's in your property that people are using day in and day out in the most organic and native way. So I could talk about this forever, but I want to make sure that we leave plenty of time for questions. And so I hope that you guys found this helpful. We're more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I'd also be interested to hear if this is something that you guys have thought of, if this is something you find exciting or interesting and would be interested to implement into your own business. So with that, we will open it up to Q&A. If you want to learn more about Minoan, you can go to minoan.com/investher. There are all sorts of different pages on our website that you guys can check out if you're interested in the procurement arm, if you're more interested in the showroom arm. And there is a section of our website where you can sign up if you're interested. Otherwise, if you just want to go get more information, that's totally fine. But as I mentioned, there is zero cost to joining Minoan. So at least at the very minimum, definitely encourage you guys to go check it out.
Awesome. If you could put that link in the chat box too, Sage, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to field some questions because, there are, even in just general STR world, right? Because things are changing for certain, in certain areas. People are getting a little more increasingly frustrated with their STRs. I've seen that a lot in our community. Some people are thriving. It really depends on geography and the regulations and cash flow is getting squeezed a bit. So this really is strategically, right, an opportunity to really. I love what you said, Sage. Can you repeat the $1 billion comment and I'd love to encourage, please post your questions when it comes to STR in general too, or just in, we want to field questions and support all of you. So please put those in the Q&A, and also how to best monetize through the showroom. But yeah, I'm curious, Sage, help us understand that statistic. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like this $10 billion affiliates industry out there for influencers. Like if you think about, everyone's probably on social media in one form or another. People are using companies like to know it an LTK link, and they will link their entire outfit for the day. And it's essentially a way that these influencers are making money for saying, hey, this is my favorite sweater. Someone's interested in the sweater. They buy it. That influencer gets a commission. And if you think about it, like brands are spending, this is where I can really nerd out, and I blame our founder for this because we worked together at Jet and this was really his niche, but it makes so much sense. If you think about it, anytime you go to Google and you type in anything, you're going to get an ad. So brands are paying whatever it is, $1 a click, 30 cents a click, to get someone to go like boop on an ad on Instagram, on Facebook, on Google, of a couch, of soap and shampoo, of sheets, whatever it may be. But the reality is, in these properties, short-term rental, mid-term rental, whatever, every single day, moments between guests or consumers in the brand's eyes and those products are happening natively. So if you think about it, it's not like you're going to a mattress firm in your work clothes and you're trying to lay on a mattress with like a salesperson over your shoulder trying to get you to buy that mattress. You're sleeping on that mattress for, let's say, 2 to 3 nights alone or with your partner or with your family. That's the best way to experience a mattress. And so when with the way that we position ourselves to these brands is like, these properties, this network of millions and millions of properties out there, they're marketing partners for you guys. And you should be thinking of them that way, which is why we're able to get the discounts up front on the purchasing side, because we're like, listen, instead of you paying one for stores, right? Like think about this massive short-term rental, mid-term rental network. If you have a Casper mattress in every mid-term rental, now Casper doesn't need to pay for all of these leases that they have in malls and all around, different shopping centers and stuff like that. They are using this network of short-term rentals and mid-term rentals that exist already basically as showrooms for their products without it being too salesy. Like it should not feel like a Casper store or a Wayfair store or Crate and Barrel store. We're just challenging these brands to think about this network of properties in this industry as marketing partners instead of just customers to like make money off of.
And I want to go back to increasing your nightly revenue, right? And so a lot of that comes down to, are you serving your avatar, right? If you're at the beach, there's an avatar. If you're going to Disney, right? It's all. I'm not a short-term rental person, so I'm just going off of what I know of it. I'm a multifamily person, so forgive me for my naivety. But really, it's about increasing that nightly revenue. And the one step to do that is to also see what your competition is doing, and also to have the look and the feel of what you want what you want your ideal avatar to experience, which has to do with the quality of the products in your STR, if you will. How does it change, or how does Minoan kind of offer, STR owners like ideas and solutions based on like if you're going for like a beach theme and that beach avatar family versus a couple getaway in the mountains? I would imagine with all the different types of owners you have kind of like a library, if you will, that STR owners can tap into, so they don't have to recreate the wheel based on their avatar. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I can speak to that quickly. So there's like a current state of Minoan, and then there's a very exciting future state. We always have a future state of Minoan
course,
that
we
I
all
think
do. We all do.
solves for this a lot more. And so the first thing that we focused on, one of the first things, was having a very wide assortment of brand partners, because we know that for example, Serena and Lily as a brand partner, they are very coastal and beachy. That brand probably wouldn't suit someone who's doing a mid-century modern cabin in Nashville or like the Smokies or something like that. And so we wanted to have a wide variety of brand partners to support and enable hosts who have all different shapes, sizes, target avatars, target ADRs. Like if you're charging $100 a night, you're probably not shopping from Crate and Barrel. If you're in like that luxury market in Aspen or Park City, like you're probably shopping from Restoration Hardware and Crate and Barrel. So we wanted to make sure we had something for everyone. That's number one. What we're going towards, and this is based on feedback that we've heard from basically all of our members, which has been amazing, is people do want a little bit more help. Like time is money in this industry. Like every day that you're not listed, every day that something gets delayed, you're losing money because you are actively paying your mortgage. And so really this next phase of Minoan, what we're focusing on, and I hope this isn't spoiling anything. So if it is, you guys are hearing this first, but is this revamped shop experience to where it is going to help people. Hey, if you are looking for mid-century modern, here are products for you. If you're in more of a coastal beachy market, here are products for you.
Yeah, that would
Really
be huge.
focusing on like removing the friction in the shopping experience. And we know, we don't know everything, but we know there are some key themes. You have the boho, you have the beach, you have the lake, you have the mid-century modern, you have the farmhouse. Like between all of our brand partners, we have a pretty good idea of who sources what and who fits into those categories. And so now what we're really focused on is just how to merchandise that better and surface it to all of our members so that it makes it easy for them. Because right now, you know, it's not impossible, but there is a little bit of work required on the user. And our goal is to remove every ounce of friction that there is so that people can explore, hey, I'm in a lake property. All right, look at these brands. I'm looking for this style. Look at here. And that this new experience, I think is at least the first version of it is launching before the end of the year. So we're really excited about that.
That was exciting. Please keep us posted because I think that it's cutting the time down. A lot of the women in our community are like, how do I just cut the time down versus having to be this creative person who has to come up with.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, you know, especially if that's not your forte, you know, per se. Any questions? I want to encourage anyone else to ask them some questions. I would love to, you know, with anything we do, any webinar, any educational content we do, it's always about something you learn and an action that this inspired you to take, because it's in the actions we take that momentum happens. And quite honestly, the journey, right? Our investing journey takes one step forward. It's like, what is the next right thing for me to do as a result of this session? And, you know, I don't take that lightly because everyone has a lot of things going on. So I'm a big fan of intentionality. And I'm also a very big fan of getting clear on one takeaway here that I'm going to do as a result of this time we spent together. So I'd love to see for those that, you know, want to include that in the chat box. And I got a question here. All right, Terry, I love this idea. How long have you been offering this service? How successful has it been? Have guests purchased items through Minoan? Okay, we got couple questions there. And please, for everyone else, as you're answering that, please put in the chat box your biggest learning and your one action you're going to take. So
Taylor, do you want to cover that or do you want me to? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
There's a Q&A box. Okay,
yeah, it's like a separate little, I said, we're definitely Google Meet experts, not Zoom experts, but we're learning. I can at least take the first part of this.
Sure.
How long have we been offering this service? We have been offering this service for a while, really since the beginning of Minoan, but we just recently, about a month ago, completely 180'd it. It's now self-service. You can add, like we mentioned, items that you didn't purchase through Minoan. It's a much better user experience now. And so while we have had it for a while, we've really just revamped it, and it is a whole new great experience. So far, it has been really successful. I mean, do we have a ton of metrics to back up, you know, all of, you know, this new product? Not yet. We will very soon though. But in the meantime, I can tell you that people have been building showrooms left and right. We're seeing them. People are really excited about it. Like Sage mentioned in the presentation, sharing it on social media. I manage our Instagram. I get tagged at least in one, maybe two stories a day of people being like, check out my new showroom on their pages. So, and like putting their link to their showroom. So, it has been successful. Have guests purchased items through Minoan? It's interesting. Guests don't actually get access to Minoan if they've purchased it through the Minoan showroom. If that's the question, yes, they have. I can give a fun example. Even we were all kind of shocked when this one came through. Someone purchased recently a sectional that was in someone's house, which we were all like, wow, that feels like a really like big commitment product to purchase from a showroom. But we could kind of track and see what they did, and they went and stayed one place, and then we saw that when they finally purchased it, they had purchased it at home. So I think they stayed. They lived on the couch for a few days. They loved the couch. They got home. They made sure it fit, and then they ordered it. So I mean, I think that if anything, that's the perfect example of like how living on something, like when was the last time you got to go try out a couch for 2 or 3 days before you purchased it? That's so valuable. So I think that answers your full question, Terry. But if you have any other follow-ups, please let me know.
Yeah, maybe I can sprinkle in just a little bit more context as someone who's been here for
you've been here since
100 dog years on
since
the
85
side. But like Taylor said, we did have this, we didn't even call it a showroom back then. It was called a shoppable experience, and it required a lot of work. It was the first product that we built before we even had this procurement or purchasing side of our business. It was a lot of work on the host to set this up, telling us where they bought things. We learned a lot from that process. And to be totally honest, for the past 3.5 years, this showroom shoppable concept at Minoan took a major backseat once we launched this procurement side of our business until September 30th. So less than a month ago is when we revamped the showroom to what we showed you guys today. Not only is it self-setup and self-service, not only can you add items regardless of if you've purchased through Minoan or haven't, doesn't matter if it's a Minoan partner or if it's not. I mean, there are so many things that we learned from this first experience of like, okay, we need to make this easier. We need to have non-Minoan items included. So it can be this cohesive experience. And just anecdotally from like earlier showrooms before we changed to the platform that we're on now, the top selling items just from like historicals have been mattresses, they've been pillows, they've been the sheets, the soaps and shampoos. And there are some like some left field items that have been purchased as well, where you guys may not think like, or you may think no one's going to buy this X, Y, and Z. But I encourage you guys, if you do set up a showroom, add everything. You will be surprised where inspiration strikes. We've had people buy like a piece of driftwood that came from Crate and Barrel that was like an accent piece under a nightstand at a hotel in New York on the coast. And we've had people buy hanging hooks, like you think of the things that are on the wall to hang your purse or your coat. I mean, inspiration strikes anywhere. So of course, like, as you could probably imagine, the mattress, the sheets, the soaps and shampoos, those high touch items get a lot of love. There are also some of those like unique items, whether it's the local coffee or the hanging hooks or the art on the wall that really hit people and inspire them.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Very cool. Thank you, Terry, for the question. Yeah, and I think it's just about taking that action. And I love how you showed how easy it is to set it up. And there's no money out of people's pockets, right? It's free. So
not at all.
These are all really cool things. And I also want to mention what I loved about, I forget, one of the conversations we had was, you're creating value for your actual your STR. So meaning you're creating value for the guests. So when you have like a cool QR code, it's almost like you're thinking about them. Yes, you could say, and I'm going to be there's an affiliate here, LOL, or you can make fun of it, right? It's not like, oh, it's a secret, but you're also adding value. Hey, if you really like this, check this out. And I think that's like thoughtful. And I think that goes a long way. Whenever I've seen that, I'm like, oh, these people really maybe making an affiliate on it, but they're thinking about me. And I think that goes a long way, especially if you can kind of have some fun with it, and I am making an affiliate regardless of that, or something you can make fun. You could have some fun with it. I think sometimes when you call things out, right, a shameless plug or something,
totally.
It goes a long way. So love what you're doing. Everyone on our webinar here, take some action. It's all about increasing our revenue of any asset we have. And you got to get creative right now. And this is one tool in the toolkit, especially if you have an STR, and it's just a no-brainer to be, doing this and really think about your avatar. Because if you're doing that right, like really, who's my property avatar for my STR? They're going to want the items in that in that type of, place, if you will. You're doing it right because you're serving them, right? So thank you both for being on. Thank you for all the help and support you've given our community and everyone on. Please take some action. Check out Minoan with the link that's in the chat box and take some action to increase your revenue.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
take care,
Appreciate
right?
it. Bye-bye.
Bye now.